Hey y'all, it's your girl Stephanie. This is Wrestling Color Podcast right here on YouTube. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest, and thumbs up the video. Like that should be the first thing that came out my mouth. Thumbs up the video, please. Subscribe. Subscribe. You won't be disappointed. Because if there's something you don't like that I'm talking about, there's 100 different things that I do talk about that you're gonna like. Take your shoes off, sit down, let's have this conversation. I don't think there's anything else I need to step into in terms of house cleaning. So what are we talking about? Charlotte and Becky. We're talking about Charlotte and Becky. So let's see. Let's catch up. Let me lean back in my chair. First, we had Rhea Ripley drop the belt to Charlotte. I don't even fucking know when because Rhea Ripley's Raw Women's Championship reign was very disappointing and lackluster at best. Rhea Ripley never recovered from Charlotte, the Juggernaut, going down to NXT and fucking her over in the worst possible way. Um, then we had Becky Lynch return during SummerSlam and taking our champ Bianca Belair, doing a rock bottom and basically slamming shut any momentum Bianca had in 26 seconds. Um, I have a problem with that. I'm going to continue to have a problem with that. It left a sour taste in my mouth for Becky Lynch. And I just want to be clear. I'm talking about the characters, not the people, okay? Not Charlotte Flair, not Rebecca Quinn or Rebecca Colby, because she's married now. I'm talking about Charlotte Flair and the man Becky Lynch, okay? Not Bianca Blair, Bianca Belair. So let's just get that clear. Um, left a sour taste in my mouth, and here we are, fast forward, and Crown Jewel happened. I thought the SmackDown Women's Champion would be dropped to Sasha Banks because she's now on SmackDown. Becky's on Raw, and the Raw Women's Champion would be dropped to Bianca because she's on Raw, and Charlotte's on SmackDown. But that's not what happened. What happened was some of the most lazy, lackluster writing you could imagine in an already weak ass women's division on all shows, maybe outside of NXT. They showed up on Raw, I guess, because I think I would sleep. I believe it was Raw, and was going to do a title exchange with Sonya Deville overseeing things. During this title exchange, somehow something went wrong to where Becky wanted to have a two belts a two belts memory thing as she was exiting to go to SmackDown. And Charlotte was not having it, pulled the belt away from her. The belt dropped. Becky threw her belt. That dropped. And all of this bullshit ensued. First of fucking all, is Becky a fucking heel or not? Becky is not drawing heel heat. Becky is being insufferable, and you're making it very difficult to even like her at this point. Not as a heel, not as a fucking face. She's just in the middle, and it's not working. Why would you want this woman to hold up two belts for the crowd to celebrate that happened two belts when she won during WrestleMania Triple Threat with Ronda Rousey, which, by the way, I personally think was a terrible match, but that's just me. Why was that going to even take place? Why? That belt should have been dropped to Sasha Banks. I don't understand. Charlotte, y'all built this woman up to be a fucking juggernaut to the point where she's in a ring with anyone. She doesn't elevate nobody. She doesn't put anybody over. She comes in, pulverizes them to keep it moving. Y'all put her in that position. So I don't blame her when she doesn't want to play in this two belt shit and look like a weak ass android. I don't blame her. Both of the championships belts were disrespected, but then again, women's wrestling in WWE isn't respected anyway, especially on the main roster. It's a shit show. We're not even going to talk about the Queen's crown overall being 10 minutes of wrestling. I'm sorry, 15 minutes of actual wrestling. Okay, and this is on the 3-year anniversary of the all women's pay-per-view Evolution that was so bigged up and so made into this big deal because the men got to go to Saudi Arabia and the women couldn't, and it was like all this stuff going on. And I rewatched Evolution, and it didn't do nothing for me. That's another conversation for another day. When you watch it initially, you get pride, you like, yay. But when you look back at it, it was thrown together, it was quick, it served no purpose. It didn't elevate nobody, it didn't help nobody. Ronda Rousey coming through literally left this division in a shambles since she's gone off and had children and done her thing. No fault of Ronda Rousey. That's the fault of creative. So with that being said, Charlotte Flair has been in the headlines over the last week following the reported backstage confrontation with Becky Lynch on the October 22nd episode of SmackDown. Flair wasn't thrilled with WWE's plan for the championship exchange segment and went to management to try to change it. After the segment, she had words with Lynch and was later escorted from the venue during Lynch's dark match to avoid any issues. Since that time, it's been reported that Flair is unpopular backstage, and some people in her circle are pushing the idea of her trying to get out of her contract. Also, WWE has pulled her from media appearances this week. Flair took to Twitter early Saturday morning to indicate that she has heard the reports and rumors about her. After posting the GIF, she also retweeted the GIF of herself winking. Flair did work Friday's episode, which is this past one that was on Fox Sports 1. The episode that Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, was not on. The episode where Mustafa is making some type of heel turn by using his ethnicity. She was on that episode where she beat Shotzi Blackheart, and after the bout, Shotzi then turned heel by attacking Sasha Banks and blamed the boss for the loss. Sasha Banks, I don't even know. I don't even know. Will we ever get our rematch between her and Bianca Belair from SummerSlam? Who the fuck knows? Because we could have got that rematch during Survivor Series. So right now, WWE is headed towards Survivor Series, and from what it looks like, we're going to get Becky versus Charlotte for the 17,000th time. Will we get it? Because they really have real heat, apparently. And you know WWE loves some fucking heat. They like it any which way they could get it. Okay? So Wade Keller of PWI Torch or PW Torch said from what he was told from people behind the scenes, quote unquote, none of the women want to work with Charlotte. Like, not in the ring, in a match, not on the mic. I've sort of been going into tons of details on it. In some situations, there have been speculation. I didn't want to get into terms of what's going on and what's causing it, but became newsworthy again last night. Keller went on to say, I specifically reached out to people and seeking out Charlotte's side of this because it does, from the people I've been talking to, it feels one sided. It does. It does. And these people I trust, and I talk to them about other things. And this isn't like I'm talking to people who are anti-Charlotte. It's just sort of people in WWE I talk to, some wrestlers and some others who are just relatable. And the stuff they tell me seems agenda free and it's played out as a standing the test of time before. I don't hear anyone defending Charlotte. And then somebody, in so many words, said Becky is a hero in the locker room for calling out Charlotte and not letting her get away with what she does. He went on to say, one wrestler I talked to said the way, and I'm paraphrasing, uh, this guy is paraphrasing. Um, he said to lighten up the language, he said that Charlotte acting is going to cause issue with both colleagues and management. He really stressed how respected and well liked Becky is universally in the locker room, and that she's been a hero for it because the idea was Charlotte was being difficult and Becky wasn't going to take it. She wasn't going to have it anymore, and that was what's led to the confrontation. Another wrestler at the show put it even more forcefully that in terms of Charlotte has a reputation of flat out being difficult and constantly concerned that she's not getting the respect that someone her stature and accomplishment, or at least her character stature and her character's accomplishment, may be. There's a blending of the two right now, and that has some people wondering about her. I wouldn't be shocked. Her dad's Ric Flair. This is also WWE's fault for booking this woman like a goddamn unstoppable beast. Charlotte feels that she should be treated at a different level than the other stars who were on top, had to work really hard to protect themselves. Steve Austin certainly had that reputation going. I'm not going to do this. This isn't making me look good. I'm too important. But Charlotte doesn't have that type of clout. She also isn't conducting herself well. Sounds like it's pretty universal that people look at her as not looking out for anyone but herself in a way that goes beyond normal looking out for yourselves in this business, and that she doesn't want to sell for anyone. I believe that. That's probably why her and Nia Jax got into that little smack or fight. Because Charlotte doesn't sell. She doesn't make anyone look good in the ring. That's just what it is. I've said this before. If you go back in my podcast, go back where I've talked about how Charlotte is a juggernaut. She is running through the women's division to the point where you can't even take the women's division seriously. It's like this idea. I got it right here. Charlotte destroying the women's division. Then I got another one. A specific kind of superstar. Okay? It's too much Charlotte and not enough new stars being built. But then, honestly, Becky Lynch isn't a damn immune or above reproach. Becky Lynch sat there and let them tell her to go out there and take that title off of Bianca Belair in 26 seconds to do what? So she could be a heel? And that's not boding well. That's not going well for Becky. I don't care what anybody says. I don't see where her heel turn has taken hold and taken place. I'm still waiting. 1 year ago, we tired. The Juggernaut. That's the one I'm talking about, Charlotte Flair. We already been here. And we're going to continue to be here because of the booking and what the WWE is trying to do. And they're failing at doing this at the detriment of the women's division. Okay? It goes on to how she's handled when she's been asked a job. It goes to Nia Jax's situation. I just brought it up. Um, it's been going with her and Becky. Is very aware of all that she certainly has clout to do with Charlotte. From what I heard, was swearing up and down that dropping the belt the way she did was an accident. Her contention is, and I'm connected to some dots here, Charlotte's contention is that the tug of war she wasn't supposed to win is so quickly, and when she flung the belt backward, she didn't know where to drop it. She couldn't move it and forward in front of Becky, so it ended up dropping to the side and behind her because the tug of war didn't go as planned and her arm was back there. Okay, listen, she dropped the belt. Period. There's no confusion. And then Sonya told her to pick up the belt. Then Becky threw her belt at Charlotte. Charlotte stepped back and let that belt fall. When what should have happened was Sonya, give me the belts. Sonya crosses her hands. The ladies take the belt and get out the fucking ring. What should have happened was those belt beats dropped right back to Bianca for Raw, Sasha for SmackDown. We get the goddamn match we deserve that we didn't get at SummerSlam from Sasha and Becky. That's what should have happened. So again, all of this is because of creative and because of the relaxation, the need to put white women at the forefront of the women's division, the need to always go back to what is regular. Sasha and Bianca carried this fucking women's division while Becky was at home having her children. No jab to Becky. Charlotte was over here racking Rhea Ripley and running through everybody else as usual. And we're always told to wait and see what happens. I don't give a fuck about this. I'm not waiting to see what happens with none of this. I don't want to see Becky and Charlotte in the ring again. I had enough. I had enough. To put it mildly, no one involved in that situation was buying that Charlotte was asked to leave the building. Wade Keller went on to say Charlotte has really isolated herself from the rest of the locker room. That's a lot of friendliness into action. There's not. She kind of in her own world now. She's just endearing herself to the locker room in any way. It's not like that makes them side against her, but that's a symptom of people are wondering what's going on with her and that she's in her own head and overacting the things. There was also someone said that Charlotte wanted to drop the belt to Bianca and they told her no. So Charlotte is being called selfish, but also being selfless to Bianca Belair because she enjoys Bianca Belair. They do have good matches. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to leave it here. I don't like it. I think this whole thing overshadowed the women's division. It's too much confusion. Sonya Deville wanted to fight Charlotte Flair backstage because of the situation and how it played out for her. You know, because she was caught blindsided, looked like a deer in headlights. She too was worried about her being quote unquote an official and not handling the situation properly. Okay? Charlotte Flair's behavior has always been dismissed as she's a Flair. This is what it is. But that's the fault of her booking. You have um Becky Lynch, Big Time Bex, trying to be a heel, wanting to do something that would not have gotten her heel heat by raising up 2 belts and saying, "Look, everybody, remember this," and everyone's excited. I don't get what the fuck is going on with Becky. I don't get it. I don't know what she's trying to do outside of being obnoxious. It's not working for me. I will say this in terms of Charlotte. Andrade and Ric Flair. Ric Flair just had a terrible situation with his Dark Side of the Ring episode, The Flight from Hell, where Tommy Dreamer, if you want to hear that, everybody's so sensitive. Tommy Dreamer excited by the hammer, which is what he called Ric Flair's penis, that he was flopping around when he accosted a flight attendant. That's why he was removed from the beginning of the WWE logo. He hasn't been on AEW. He was supposed to walk Andrade out. That's her fiance, if they already aren't married. He's over there in Jacksonville. She's over here in whatever state SmackDown is in. She wants to be with her man. Point blank in the period. The same way I already knew at the end of Adam Cole's contract, he was going to go be with his woman. This is what it is. The same way I already knew the Usos were going to stay on SmackDown because Naomi's on SmackDown and they do not break up married couples. The same way I knew that the Street Profits were going to Raw because Montez Ford and Bianca Belair are happily married. Is Charlotte trying to get out her contract to go be with her husband? If she is, I don't blame her. It is a lonely place. I don't even know how Zelina Vega does it. Zelina Vega is over here, and her husband, Aleister Black, what is he being? Malachi Black is over there. I don't know how they're seeing each other on a regular basis. And the marriage, it's work. It's work. You have to be with your partner. You have to make your presence known. Charlotte had to take days off to go celebrate her fiance when he won his match and when he represented Mexico. That was a big deal for him. That was a big deal. And I love the way Charlotte talked about Andrade when she was on Renee Young's podcast. I love it. But the way she's being booked is very difficult and it's not what it needs to be. There need to be more women writing for the women's division. There need to be more women writing for the women's division. I could literally put Charlotte and Becky and Bianca and Sasha and all the women in separate storylines that are compelling, sexy, excellent matches lasting more than 3 minutes, getting you to an ending, getting you to a payoff at these pay-per-views. But what's going on right now is unacceptable because this issue has overshadowed the entire women's division. I don't know what they're going to do. It was lazy to even exchange those belts when those belts should have been dropped to Bianca and Sasha. It made sense. Now you got this issue, and we're supposed to sit here and enjoy the product. Give me a fucking break. Tell me what y'all think about the whole situation. I may be late, but I was dealing with some things, but I'm coming back slow. It's the Wrestling Color Podcast. Hit me in the comments. Make sure you subscribe.